This is a tutorial about variables. This was requested by a student who wanted to learn more about variables and understand the differences between the three types of variables. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. What are variables anyway? So variables are anything that can be changed, measured or observed, or controlled in an experiment. So every time we talk about variables, we are referring to something in an experiment, okay? So anything that can be changed, measured or observed, or controlled in an experiment. So let's look at the word changed, okay? Anything that we change in the experiment, we call the independent variable. Anything that we measure or observe, we call the dependent variable. And of course, the last one, anything we control is called the controlled variable in an experiment. Okay, so change is independent, measure or observe is dependent, controlled is the controlled variable in an experiment. So let's go look at the three types of variables. Okay, we have the independent variable, the dependent variable, and the controlled variable. Okay, so what is the independent variable again? It is the only condition, the only thing we change in an experiment. Okay, only one. The dependent variable is the variable that we measure or observe. Because we change this, we see what happens to the dependent variable. Okay, and of course the last one are variables that remain the same in the experiment. We change one condition. Because we change this is the effect, and so we can test it properly. Everything else in the experiment needs to be controlled or needs to be the same throughout. Okay, so let's look at our how old are your ears experiment. Okay, so what was the independent variable in this experiment? Let's check the meaning of independent variable again. It's the only one condition you change, only one. And what did we change? We changed the age of the person taking the test. Okay? So when you took the test, you had a different age. When your mom, your dad, your helper, your brother, your sister, your grandma, your grandpa, when they took the test, the age of the person taking the test changed. Okay, and because the age changed, okay, this variable changed. So this is what we want to measure. Every time a person with a different age listened to the video, frequency heard changed. Okay, so because we changed this happened. The frequency heard changed. Now, because we changed one, everything else in the experiment that we just conducted needs to remain the same. Okay, these are the variables that always need to be the same every time you check or you test the different person. And what would those be? Let's say the computer you use needs to be the same, because different computers have different speeds. Maybe one computer is older than the other, or maybe the speakers of this computer is better than the speakers of the other computer, so it needs to be the same. What else? The headset that you use needs to be the same. Okay, you know those $5 headsets are not as good as the Beats $3,000 headsets. Okay, so if you use different headsets for your test, then it's very hard to say what frequency that person really heard. Okay, what else? The video used. Okay, we all must use the same YouTube video that was assigned, because maybe the compression sound is different if you use another video, and that can affect the results of your experiment. Very important, the volume used. Okay, it needs to be the same volume for everybody tested. Okay, So remember, independent is only one condition you change. And because we change this, the variable was affected, and then everything else in the experiment needs to remain the same. Okay? So let's look at this experiment again. Remember, the independent variable is the only one condition you change. Okay? The variable that is measured or observed is the dependent variable. And lastly, the controlled variable are the variables that remain the same. Okay? Because this changed, because we changed one condition of the experiment, this happened. Different frequencies were heard. Okay? So why is there only one independent variable? Why can't we have 2 or 3 independent variables? Simply because to make sure that the independent variable caused the change in the dependent variable. In an experiment, we want to make sure that this is the cause of the change, that the age is the cause of the different frequencies heard. For example, if we changed age and volume in this experiment, then you wouldn't know which variable, age or volume, caused the frequency heard to change. Okay? So let's take a look. Let's say Apple tested herself, mommy, and little bro. Apple is 13, mommy is 47, little bro is 6 years old. Okay? Now, Apple put her volume level at 5. Then she put mommy's volume level at 10. Then she puts little bro's volume level at 2. Okay? So Apple, 13 years old with a volume level of 5, the highest frequency she heard was 18,000 hertz. Then mommy, who's 47, with a volume level of 10, heard 19,000 hertz. While little bro, who was 6 years old, okay, was only given a volume level of 2, and he only heard up to 10,000 hertz. Okay, so let's look at this carefully. As you can see, the age changed, but the volume level changed as well. So you changed 2 things in this experiment. Okay, so how do you know, okay, if Apple really could have heard more than this, more than 18,000? How do you know that mom at 47, okay, heard 19,000 because the volume level was really high? Or little bro, does he really have a hearing damage, an ear damage? Because he's only 6 years old and he only heard 10,000 hertz. Okay? So you will not know whether it's the age or the volume that affected or changed the frequency heard. So what caused the change in the frequency heard? Was it the age or the volume level? We don't know. Take a look at this now. Okay? You can see we tested the same people. Apple, who was 13 years old, mommy, who was 47, and little bro, who is 6. But what's the difference? Volume level is the same. We controlled the volume level. Everybody had the same volume level. And look at the difference, okay? Apple still heard 18,000 hertz. But look what happened to mommy. Before, she heard 19,000 hertz, but at this volume level, she only heard up to 17,000 hertz, okay? And little bro, at volume level 2, he only heard 10,000, but now, at the same volume level, he heard up to 20,000 hertz, okay? So can you see the difference? Can you now see the link between our independent variable? This is our independent variable, and our dependent variable. Okay, because volume level was the same, we can say that the frequencies heard, okay, is affected by the age of the person, because this is the only thing we changed, the age of the person. And we can see that the younger you are, the higher the frequency you hear. But you cannot, okay, let's go back to the other one. But you cannot say the same thing if your volume levels are different, okay? Is it, I heard the higher frequency because my volume level is the highest? Or did I hear the highest frequency because I'm the oldest? Okay, that's why it's very important to take and make sure that you only have one, okay, one independent variable, and everything else, like the volume level, the computer used, the headsets used, the video clip used, remains the same. So let's review. Variables are anything that can be changed, measured or observed, and controlled in an experiment. Okay? And the types of variables that we have, okay, the independent variable is the only condition that is changed in the experiment, only one, remember. The dependent variable is the one we measure. After we change the independent variable, we look at what changes as well, okay? And in the how old are your ears experiment, we change the age of the person taking the test. And because of that, our dependent variable, which is the highest frequency heard, changed as well. Okay? And everything else in the experiment needs to be controlled. It needs to remain the same. Okay? Why is there only one independent variable? To make sure that the independent variable is the cause of change in the dependent variable. Got questions? Okay. You can always send me an email, sciencehk2014@gmail.com. Okay? Look for the solution to your problem. Be an independent learner. I'm only an email away. Bye-bye.